Hi students, hopefully you're enjoying learning physiology. I'm going to give you an overview of lesson 3, which is on the cell. I have to stress to you that chapter 2 was very, very important, that this is not information that you're going to do once and forget about. So important is this information that on every summative test that you get from here on in, I'm going to ask you questions about that chemistry, recognizing carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. You need to know their monomers, their polymers, so always go back and review that before you take any test, a summative test thereafter, chapter 2. Okay, so for lesson 3, we'll have some questions on chemistry, and lesson 3 is about chemistry. The cell, key concepts here, the plasma membrane, the organelles that make up the plasma membrane, how their structure relates to their function, and also the cell cycle. I have to stress that that plasma membrane is made up of the macromolecules that you learned about in lesson 2. So please, here's my advice. Watch the 2 videos that I recommend below. Watch them 2 or 3 times. That will help to visualize the plasma membrane. You're also going to learn about the cell wall. I advise you to draw with colored pencils the plasma membrane, which is actually a diagram in your book. Okay, that's actually figure 3.2. Diagram that. Know those parts inside and out. Put them in your head. I keep talking about that. Again, more than 50% of the drugs that are used pharmacologically are geared towards the plasma membrane. Also, these organelles, besides the ribosome, are all covered in a membrane just like this. So you really need to understand it. The cell cycle. The cell cycle is the cycle of progression from one cell to 2 daughter cells. And I want you to get this misconception out. The cell cycle, out of your mind, the cell cycle is not mitosis. Mitosis is one part of the cell cycle. Not all of your cells, and my goodness, you have 230 different types of cells in your body, which are differentiated because you're now an adult. Not all of those cells are dividing anymore, but the ones that are, like your pluripotent stem cells in your bone marrow that give rise to blood cells, they're carrying out the cell cycle, progressing out of G1 into S, G2, mitosis, and cytokinesis. This is a process that you need to know. That when cells need to, for instance, the basal layer of the skin that you learned about, hitting that basement membrane, giving rise to all the cells that go up to the epidermis, that layer that's going through mitosis and dividing is actually carrying out the cell cycle over and over and over again. Again, your epithelial lining of the top surface of your skin is replaced every 3 days. So division is very important to our bodies taking care of themselves, to replace cells when they need to be, and you need to understand it because of the normal functions of that process and also the abnormal cancer. So you're going to delve into cancer in this chapter, which we'll come back to again. So here, I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm going to stress that you have major key concepts in here: the plasma membrane, the organelles, structure relates to function, the cell cycle, normal and abnormal components of it. 2 videos to watch when you're done. Please draw diagrams and don't memorize. Put the chemistry in your head because we're going to need it from here on in. Thanks. Bye.